Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here with a Darjeeling tea. Got a cupping set, which are often used in Darjeeling to evaluate teas. So we kind of location appropriate teaware here, scooping out enough to cover the bottom surface of my. It's roughly a 3-ounce cupping set or cup here. Of course, in the plantations, when you can be more precise. 2 grams, 3 grams, maybe more precisely measured out. Water has been brought to an early boil, not a full 212-degree rolling boil. I'm going to slowly add my water so that all the leaves get tucked underneath the surface of the water. There's a little notch, which is where the flow through as I pour, decant here. My water's just below the bottom of that opening there. But nice with a lid, has a hole there for airflow as you're pouring too. The cupping set comes with a bowl, so I'll be using that as well. And then transferring the pitcher so that the liquor can be a little more visible. Introducing this tea, though. This is from Happy Earth Tea. This is their Puttabong First Flush. It is fair trade. It is organic. It is Rainforest Alliance, as described on the product page. You can also find there a 6-cup sample for $2.50, $2.50. This is a 2014. Yes, I should have mentioned that, first flush of 2014. So, I'm going to go ahead. Now, 2014 was not necessarily there's a lot of talk that it wasn't necessarily the model year of what you can get from a first flush. So we'll see what we have here in this. Some lots or some areas, because you can have some kind of microclimate. Some areas did better than others. I'll talk a little bit about this dry leaf here first. Get a whiff here. Now I get a whiff. I sniff, and I do get some of those traditionally characteristic Darjeeling type aromas. You get a kind of red globe grape skin kind of moving over towards that what is often described as the muscatel type of aroma coming off here. When I breathe in, you got a bit more of the light toasty type baked notes. So a little bit of baked note like that can be a welcome aspect and sought after. Scooping out a few of these leaves onto the spoon here, what I see is variations in color. Although a bit more on the greenish end of the spectrum, a bit more of a green-yellow colors, moving over towards a lighter brown, a paler brown, as opposed to some that have more of almost a rust type of brown. The 3 colors that can often be combined, you may get a silvery white color from the tips. In this particular scoop, that's more difficult to find, I will say it that way. So this is more towards the greener end of the spectrum. So you've got some dark greens, you've got some green yellows in there. Looking into the bag here, the pouch does have a bit more of the silvery than what I got in this particular scoop. So I should have mentioned the size was they were wiry, wrapped along the middle down the length of the leaf portions, not necessarily intact leaves. Don't see a lot of, like I said, didn't see a lot of buds or needles there either. So, having said that, now get ready to pour. To pour, you want to be able to move fairly quickly, and you want to use your bowl here to keep my lid from flopping off, and then to move a little bit more smoothly, I'm going to hold the lid with one hand, and I'm going to pour. And when it fits right, it rests just like so, so that it pours a little fairly evenly. And so that if you're tasting multiple teas, you're able to turn down the table if you've got them lined up. A little easier to decant that way. I'm going to shake out these last few drops here and set that to the side for just a moment. Let me kind of shake this. Get some of those leaves to shake back down to the bottom so I can get an aroma here. Yes, the grape, again, the grape skin, those are the first things that hit me, followed by a light baked type element, lightly toasted wheat bread, maybe a little thin smear of butter on top of that, so it's got a nice kind of toasty aspect to it. It's underneath that characteristic grape. There's some sweetness there. Again, this is more like a warm. The grape jelly, grape preserve, has rested on top of that toasted bread and kind of melded together. So you get a bit of sweetness that is fruit grape. You get a bit of sweetness that is the toasted bread, and then combined, they almost create this very light baked peach type of aspect in the aroma, which is nice. Shake that so that the leaves now rest on top of the lid, and now we can look a little more easily at these leaves. They have turned a more vibrant, a brighter green in many cases. Needles or tips are a little bit more prominent. I found one here, for example, right here resting on top. I'm going to kind of press this down a little bit, spread them around. Leaf sizes here varying. I've got one here that is nearly intact, and it is an inch and a half or so in length. I get a bit more you can see the oxidation where it did take place on those leaves, where it's still a rust type color. What else? A little bit of stem here and there that was attached to a leaf or tip at some point. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Because of the brightness and the greenness of this, it looks like there was a little less oxidation that took place on this. This was a very light oxidation. And a lot of your first flushes generally are a lighter look in oxidation. So I'm going to move this liquor now to the pitcher. It's a little easier to see. Give that a swirl. Hold that up to the light, and you've got a nice kind of pale golden honey type of color there, which is nice. The grape is there. Starchy type of, how do I want to describe that? Starchy type of dried hay, maybe. A bit of a boiled corn in there too. Okay, I'm going to give this a pour. I don't need to smell it all day. Grapevine kind of smells. There's something about a wild grapevine smell growing in the forest that's present in that aroma as well. In the actual sipping and tasting there, those grape components are there. They are generally lighter. There's a bit more the starchiness, the astringency that kind of gives the mouth a drying feel. gives it a bit of a briskness to it as well. Those are there. They're more pronounced. They are somewhat more pronounced than what I encounter in some first flush Darjeelings. Still drying the gum above the gum line, so it's above the tops of my upper teeth, drying out, moving back towards the back of my mouth as well. Same thing happening kind of underneath as well, underneath my tongue, below the gum line of my lower teeth there, moving back. So what else? What else? Let me give it another shot here. As it cools a little bit, temperature changes, see what happens. Again, some of the grape aspect there, but it's lighter. It's in play with a bit of the corn, sweet corn, and it's moving, and then kind of above those two, the dried hay kind of aspect is picking up more than the others. So that means that it doesn't evoke as much of a sense of sweetness, as much of a sense of fruity or floral. It's more in that dry hay kind of aspect. Although, there is something there. It's just not as pronounced as what can be found in other Darjeelings from other places and or other times. So, looking at this tea, 2014 again, not the most spectacular year for a lot of what comes out of Darjeeling first flushes. Having said that, there are some nice components to this. It's not necessarily off-putting, just not the most outstanding exhibition of what a Darjeeling can be. So it makes it a little tough to categorize this or score it, but I guess I would probably give this one an 89. Again, some nice components. So that's where it is. You'd want to look at how this compares with other Darjeelings, especially of this year, because you can't necessarily always go back in time and get what was had in the past or take a gamble on what will happen for next year. You want to be able to go to Walker Tea Review, get the news, subscribe to the newsletter, and have tea reviews like this one delivered directly in your inbox. You can also go to subscribe to the membership content area, which is a separate subscription. In the membership, you will be able to get access to more extensive articles that talk about tea research, tea professional opinions with interviews and harvest forecasts and other more in-depth information for those who are looking to really get into the appreciation of artisanal or single origin type teas. And you can find all those things at Walker Tea Review.